Hi everyone, welcome to today's GCSE Higher Revision video. There's 40 days to go to your GCSE Maths exam, and today we're going to focus on a really important topic, and it's ratio. So ratio comes up quite a lot in the GCSE Maths paper, so it comes up in a variety of styles. It could be you're asked to write things as a ratio, so writing two quantities as a ratio. You could be asked to simplify ratios. You could be asked to share quantities in a ratio. You could be asked to, if you're given a ratio and you know one quantity, to find the other one. You could be given a ratio and told the difference between them and have to find out what the values are and so on. So there's lots of different things you could be asked to do with ratios. You could even be given equations and have to write that as a ratio and so on. So in this video, we're going to be looking at ratio. It's going to be quite, a bit longer than some of the other revision videos, so stick with it, but it's very important today. So this is one that I highly recommend. If you get the Corbettmaths revision cards, card number 68 and ratio will be really useful for you as well. So that'll be useful for your revision on ratio. But today we're going to be going through lots of different things or lots of different aspects of the topic of ratio, and I'll be giving you lots of questions to try, so remember to pause the video to try those questions. And today it's one of the topics where there's going to be lots of different practice questions below, so give those a shot. And so let's get started.
Hi, today we're going to be looking at ratio. So to begin with, let's look at simplifying ratios. So here are three ratios. We've got 15 to 20, 24 to 80, and 9,000 to 1,500. Can you press pause now and simplify these ratios? Okay, so in terms of the first one, both of these numbers are divisible by 5. So if we divide both of these numbers by 5, we'll get 3 to 4. So 15 to 20 will simplify to 3 to 4. Okay, next we've got 24 to 80. Now you could spot that both of these numbers are divisible by 8 to begin with, but you might just start off by halving them both. If we halve them both, we'd get 12 to 40. And then we could divide them by 2 again. That'll give us 6 to 20. And then we could divide by 2 again and get 3 to 10. So 24 to 80 will simplify to 3 to 10. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our last one. We've got 9,000 to 1,500. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to divide both of these numbers by 100. So that'll give us 90 to 15. And in terms of these numbers, they're both divisible by 3, so let's divide them both by 3 and see what we get. So 90 divided by 3 would be 30, and 15 divided by 3 would be 5. And actually, both of these numbers are now divisible by 5, so we can divide both of these by 5 and we'll get 6 to 1. And that's it. So our next question says a box contains white and grey beads. So there's a box with white and grey beads. And the ratio of white beads to grey beads is 3 to 7. So that means that for every 3 white beads, there are 7 grey beads. So there could be 3 white and 7 grey. There could be 6 white and 14 grey. There could be 9 white and 21 grey. There could be 300 white and 700 grey. There could be 3 million white and 7 million grey, and so on. And the question says, what fraction of the beads are grey? Well, if we have a look at this, well, if for instance there were 3 white, so white, 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 and grey, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if there were 3 white and 7 grey, you would find that altogether there'd be 10 beads altogether, and 7 of them are grey. So what fraction of the beads are grey? That'd be 7 out of 10, or 7 tenths. And that's it. Now, if for instance you said, well, there's 6 white and 14 grey, and you had another 3 white and another 7 grey, then that would give you 14 out of 20, and then that would cancel down to be 7 tenths. So that's it. So all I would do is I'd look at the ratio. So for instance, for every 3 white, the 7 grey. So that means altogether, if there was 10 of them, 7 of them are grey. So the fraction of the beads that are grey would be 7 tenths. And that's it. Okay, next. Our next question says, what percentage of the beads are white? Well, if 7 tenths of them are grey, that means that 3 tenths are white, so 3 tenths are white. And then we want to write that as a percentage, so we just need to convert this fraction to a percentage. So we could do 3 divided by 10, which is 0.3, and then that would be 30%, so 30%. Or for instance, you could just say, well, 3 tenths is 30%, because you might just know it off by heart. Or you could do, for instance, 3 over 10, and then change it into 30 over 100, and so on. But the question said, what percentage of the beads are white? That is 30%, because 3 tenths of them are white, and that's 30%. If the question said what percentage of the beads are grey, that would be 70%. Okay, next. Well, next we're told that Omar says there's 91 beads in the box. Explain why he must be incorrect. Well, if we have a look at this, we're told the ratio of white to grey is 3 to 7. That means for every 3 white beads, there's 7 grey beads. Now, Omar says there's 91 beads in the box. Well, so for instance, if we had white and we had grey, well, there could be 3 white and 7 grey, and altogether that would be, if we just write here total, altogether that would be 10 beads. There could be, it might not be 3 and 7, it might be, for instance, 6 and 14, and that would be altogether, there'd be 20 beads. It could be 9 and 21, and that'd be 30 beads, and so on. But if you notice, every single time the total is a multiple of 10, because if we do 3 plus 7, that's equal to 10. So that means that the number of beads in the box must be a multiple of 10, and 91 obviously is not a multiple of 10, so let's explain that. And that's it. I've just written down the number of beads in the box must be a multiple of 10, since 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. But 91 is not a multiple of 10, so Omar must be incorrect, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. This is one for you to try. It's a similar question where we've got a tub contains lemon and apple sweets, and the ratio of lemon to apple sweets is 4 to 1. So that means that for every 4 lemon sweets, there's 1 apple sweet. And the question says, what fraction of the sweets are apple? And then we're asked what percentage of the sweets are lemon. And then we're told that Omar says there are 35 sweets in the tub. Could Omar be correct? So feel free to press pause now and try these 3 questions. Okay, so to begin with, we know that for every 4 lemon sweets there's 1 apple sweet. So it could be, for instance, lemon, 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 and 1 apple. So it could be 5 sweets in the tub, and there's 4 lemon and 1 apple. There could be 8 lemon and 2 apple. There could be 12 lemon and 3 apple, and so on. But the question says, what fraction of the sweets are apple? So altogether, if we had, for instance, 4 and 1, there'd be 5 altogether, and one of them's apple, so that'd be 1/5, 1 out of 5. If, for instance, there was 8 lemon and 2 apple, then that would be 2 out of 10, which would cancel down to 1/5, and so on. But always you would cancel it down to 1/5. So there it says, what fraction of the sweets are apple? The answer is 1/5, and you got that well done. Okay, next we're asked what percentage of the sweets are lemon. Well, if we have a look here, we know that 1/5 of them are apple. That means the rest of them, 4/5 is lemon. We just need to change our 4/5 to a percentage. Well, 4/5 is a percentage. Well, 1/5 is equal to 20%. So 4/5 would be equal to 80%. So 80% of the sweets are lemon. You just need to change your 4/5 to a percentage. And to convert a fraction to a percentage, you could do 4 divided by 5, which is equal to 0.8. And then that would be 80%. Alternative, you could just know it, the 4/5 is 80%. And then finally, we're told that Omar says there are 35 sweets in the tub. Could Omar be correct? So let's have a look at the ratio. We're told the ratio of lemon to apple is 4 to 1. That means that for every 4 lemon sweets, there's 1 apple. So you could have 4 lemon and 1 apple. You could have 8 lemon and 2 apples. You could have 12 lemon and 3 apples, and so on. And every single time, if that means we're putting in 5 more sweets every single time, that means the number of sweets in the tub must be a multiple of 5. And 35 is a multiple of 5, so let's explain that. And that's it. I've written yes, he could be correct because 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. So the number of sweets has to be a multiple of 5. So it has to be a multiple of 5, and 35 is a multiple of 5. So therefore, he could be correct. Now, obviously, it could be any multiple of 5. There could be 400, there could be 4 million, there could be 20, there could be 75, and so on. But we were asked, could he be correct? And he could be correct. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So in this question, we're going to share quantity in a given ratio. And this is part of the Corbettmaths revision card. And it says Jack and Chloe share £75 in the ratio 2 to 3. How much do they each receive? So in a question like this, if we're sharing a total or a quantity in a ratio, what we just need to do is add the ratio together. So we're going to do 2 plus 3, the parts in the ratio. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Then we're going to take our £75 and we're going to divide it by 5 because there's 5 parts altogether. So if we do 75 divided by 5, that'll tell us how much money is in one part. So 75 divided by 5 is equal to 15. So that means there's £15 in one part, But Jack gets 2 parts and Chloe gets 3 parts. So to find out how much money Jack gets, we're going to take our £15 and we're going to multiply by his number in the ratio. So 15 multiplied by 2 is equal to £30. So that means that Jack gets £30. So that's for Jack. And then in terms of Chloe gets 3 parts. And remember, there's £15 in one part, so we just need to take our £15 and multiply by 3, her number in the ratio. £15 multiplied by 3 is equal to £45. So that means that Chloe gets £45. And we can check we're right here. £30 plus £45 is equal to £75. That's what we started with. So just to recap, if you've got a quantity that you want to share in a given ratio, you just add together the parts in the ratio. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. You take the amount of money or whatever you're sharing and you divide that by that answer. So you do 75 divided by 5, it's equal to 15, and that tells you how much money is in one part or how much is in one part, and then you just multiply that by each of the parts in the ratio to find out how much each person gets, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at a question now. Okay, so here's a similar question for you. It says if 3 angles in a triangle are in the ratio 5 to 7 to 8. So obviously there's 3 angles in the triangle and they're in the ratio 5 to 7 to 8, and I want you to find the size of each angle. So feel free to press pause now and work out the size of each of the angles. Okay, so we know the angles in a triangle add up together to be 180 degrees, and they're in the ratio 5 to 7 to 8. So we just need to share 180 degrees in the ratio 5 to 7 to 8. So let's take our 5 and 7 and 8 and add them together. So 5 plus 7 plus 8. So 5 plus 7 is equal to 12, plus 8 is equal to 20. So there's 20 parts altogether. Now let's take the total, the 180 degrees, and divide that by the total number of parts, which is 20. So 180 divided by 20 is equal to 9. So that means there's 9 degrees in one part. Now we just need to multiply that by the numbers in the ratio to find the size of each angle. So we're going to take our 9 degrees and we're going to multiply by 5. We're going to take our 9 degrees and we're going to multiply by 7. And we're going to take our 9 degrees and we're going to multiply it by 8. And that'll tell us the size of each of the angles. So 9 times 5 is equal to 45 degrees. 9 times 7 is equal to 63 degrees, and 9 times 8 is equal to 72 degrees. So that means the three angles in the triangle are 45 degrees, 63 degrees, and 72 degrees. And if you got that, well done. And if the question asked you what was the size of the smallest angle, you could have got the 9 degrees in one part and just multiplied by 5 to get 45 degrees. If you asked for the biggest angle, you could have taken the 9 degrees and multiplied by 8, which is 72 degrees, and so on. And that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at our next type of ratio question. So sometimes rather than be given the total, sometimes you're told just one of the quantities. So here we've got the ratio of lemon sweets to strawberry sweets in a tub is 5 to 3. So in other words, for every 5 lemon sweets, there's 3 strawberry sweets. And we're told there's 40 lemon sweets in the tub. So rather than being told the total number of sweets in the tub, we're told how many lemon sweets are in the tub. And the question says how many strawberry sweets are in the tub. So we know that for every 5 lemon sweets, there's 3 strawberry sweets. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 40 and we're going to divide it by 5, the lemon sweets number in the ratio. So we're going to take 40 and we're going to divide that by 5, and that's equal to 8. And now we just need to multiply it by the strawberry sweets number in the ratio, which is 3. So 8 multiplied by 3 is equal to 24. So that means there's 24 strawberry sweets. So 24 strawberry sweets. And that's it. So in a ratio question, if you're given one of the quantities, you can just divide it by its number in the ratio. So we've done 40 divided by 5, which is 8. So that means there's 8 sweets in one part. And the strawberry sweets, that's got 3 parts in the ratio. So we just take the 8 multiplied by 3, and that's equal to 24. So there's 24 strawberry sweets in the tub. And if the question, instead of saying how many strawberry sweets are there in the tub, it said how many sweets are in the tub in total, we could just do 40 plus 24 is equal to 64. So there'd be 64 sweets altogether. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, so here's one for you to try. So the question says a box contains yellow and green counters, and the ratio of yellow to green counters in the box is 5 to 6. And then we're told there's 90 yellow counters in the box. How many counters are there in total in the box? So feel free to press pause now to try this question. Okay, so in this question, rather than being told the total number of counters in the box, we're told there's 90 yellow counters. So we're going to take that 90 and we're going to divide it by the yellow number in the ratio, which is 5. Because we know that 5 parts is equal to 90 counters. So we can take 90 and divide it by 5. So 90 divided by 5, that's the yellow number in the ratio, yellow to green, 5 to 6. So that's divided by 5, the yellow number in the ratio. So 90 divided by 5 is equal to 18. So that means it's 18 counters in one part. And then if we take that 18 and multiply it by 6, that'll tell us how many green counters there are. So 18 multiplied by 6 is equal to 18 times 6 is equal to 108. So that means there's 108 green counters. 108 green counters. But in this question, rather than asking us how many green counters there are, it says how many counters are there in total. So we know there's just yellow and green counters in the box. We know there's 90 yellow and we know there's 108 green. So if we do 90 plus 108, that's equal to 198 counters. And that's it. So how many counters are in the box? 198. And that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, now let's have a look at another type of ratio question. So this time we're told a farmer keeps sheep, cows and chickens, and the ratio of sheep to cows is 4 to 3, and the ratio of cows to chickens is 10 to 7. And the question says find the ratio of sheep to cows to chickens. So in this question we're given 2 different ratios, and then we're asked to find a ratio that combines both of those. So let's do that. So I've just written sheep, cows and chickens, and then we're told the ratio of sheep to cows in the farm is 4 to 3. So sheep to cows is 4 to 3. Let's write that down. Sheep to cows is 4 to 3. And we're also told the ratio of cows to chickens is 10 to 7. So the ratio of cows to chickens is 10 to 7. So I'm just going to write 10 to 7 there. Now we want to find the ratio of sheep to cows to chickens. So we want to write that as one ratio. We want to have one ratio of sheep to cows to chickens. Now if we have a look here, we know for every 3 cows there's 4 sheep. And we know that for every 10 cows there's 7 chickens. So if we had, for instance, 30 cows, well, if we had 30 cows, and I've chosen 30 because it's a common multiple of 3 and 10, you could have chosen 60 or 300 and so on, but I've just chosen the lowest common multiple of 3 and 10, which is 30. And if we had, for instance, 30 cows, well, if we had 30 cows, well, if there's 30 cows, it'd be 40 sheep. Because to get from 3 to 30, we multiply that by 10. And then we would multiply the 4 by 10, and 4 multiplied by 10 is equal to 40. So if we had, for instance, 30 cows, there'd be 40 sheep. And now if we look at the other ratio, for every 10 cows is 7 chickens. Well, to get from 10 to 30, we multiply by 3. So that means if we multiply 7 by 3, that means that there'll be 21 chickens. So for instance, if we know for every 10 cows, there's 7 chickens. If we had 30 cows, that'd be 21 chickens. Now this is a ratio. The ratio of sheep to cows to chicken would be 40 to 30 to 21. And that can't be cancelled down, so that's it. That's our ratio of sheep to cows to chickens, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at one last question. So our last question says a box contains red, blue and orange beads, and the ratio of red beads to blue beads is 5 to 2. The ratio of orange beads to red beads is 7 to 3, and I want you to find the ratio of blue to orange beads. So feel free to press pause and try this question out yourself. Okay, so if we have a look at this, what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to write down, because we're told there's red, blue and orange beads in the box, I'm going to start off by just writing down red, blue and orange. And then let's write down the ratios we've been told. We're told the ratio of red to blue beads is 5 to 2. So for every 5 red beads, there's 2 blue beads. So 5 to 2. For every 5 red beads, there's 2 blue beads. Then we're told that a ratio of orange to red beads is 7 to 3. So that means for every 7 orange beads, there's 3 red beads. So for every 7 orange beads, there's 3 red beads. So now let's combine these two ratios together as one single ratio. So what we're going to do is, we know for every 5 red beads, there's 2 blue beads, and we know for every 3 red beads, there's 7 orange beads. So if we look at the 5 and the 3 and find a common multiple, I'm going to find the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3, and that's 15. I think 15 is a good number to choose. So to get from 5 to 15, we multiply by 3. So if we multiply the 2 by 3, 2 times 3, that's equal to 6. So because we knew that for every 5 red beads, there's 2 blue beads, if we had 15 red beads, there'd be 6 blue beads. So that makes sense. Now if we have a look at the next ratio, we had for every 3 red beads, there was 7 orange beads. So to get from 3 to 15, we multiply by 5. So if we multiply the 7 by 5, that's equal to 35. And that's equal to 35. And that's fantastic. We now know the ratio of red to blue to orange beads in this box. It's 15 to 6 to 35. So for every 15 red beads, there's 6 blue beads and 35 orange beads. And the question says write down the ratio of blue to orange beads. So we just need to look at these two numbers. The ratio of blue to orange would be 6 to 35. 6 to 35. And that can't be cancelled down, so that's it. And if you got that, well done. You've done really, really well. Okay, so we're now going to look at ratio, and we're going to look at how to write ratios as equations and formulae, and then we'll look at how to write equations and formulae as ratios. So we've been given a ratio. The ratio of x to y is 1 to 4. So in other words, if x is equal to 1, y is equal to 4, or if x is equal to 2, y is equal to 8, or if x is equal to 100, y is equal to 400, and so on. So y is 4 times larger than x. And if we represent this visually, as you can see here, y is 4 times larger than x. Now that means that if we multiply x by 4, then we get something that looks like this. If we had 4 x's, that would be the same as y, because if something's 4 times larger than something else, if you multiply the smaller thing by 4, you get the larger thing, so then they'll be equal to each other. So then that would be our equation, that we get that y would be equal to 4x. So that's our equation linking x and y, that y is equal to 4x. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. This is one for you to try. It says, given that x to y, the ratio of x to y is equal to 2 to 3, write an equation linking x and y. So feel free to pause now and write an equation linking x and y. Okay, so we know that if x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3, or if x is equal to 4, y is equal to 6, or if x is equal to 20, y is equal to 30, and so on. Now I've represented it visually again, and so that means that we want them to be equal to each other. We want an equation, so we know that if we've got 2 y's, that'll be the same as 3 x's. So it would look something like this. For every 2 y's, that's equal to 3x. So if, for instance, y was equal to 30, then you would have 2y, which is equal to 60, and if x then would be equal to 20, 3x would be equal to 60 as well, so 60 equals 60. So our equation linking x and y would be, well, we've got the 2y equals 3x, because obviously 2 times the larger number would be 3 times the smaller number. And then we just need to make either x or y the subject. Now it doesn't actually say in this question which one to make the subject. I'm going to make y the subject here, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2 and give us that y is equal to 3 over 2x. And that's it. That y is equal to 3 over 2x. And if the question said write an equation linking x and y, make x a subject, we would have divided both sides by 3 and got that x is equal to 2/3 y, and so on. Okay, and I just want to show you a bit of a shortcut. Rather than having to represent them visually every time, and this shortcut would be quite handy whenever you're given a ratio and you want to write an equation or a formula linking them. So if we've got the ratio x to y is equal to 1 to 4, if you multiply the x by the y number in the ratio and multiply the y by the x number in the ratio, then that'll give you your equation. So for instance, x times 4 would be equal to 4x, and y times 1 would be equal to y. And we can just turn this around to get y equals 4x. Likewise, if we have the ratio of x to y is equal to 2 to 3, you can multiply the x by the y number in the ratio, so that's 3x. x multiplied by 3. And then you can multiply the y by the x number in the ratio. Y times 2 would be equal to 2y. So that's our equation, 3x equals 2y. And again, you could turn it around, 2y equals 3x. You could divide by 2 to get y equals 3 over 2x. And that's it. So if you multiply the x by the y number in the ratio and the y by the x number in the ratio, and then put them equal to each other, that's a bit of a shortcut in terms of getting your equation. Okay, so we've had a look at how to write ratios as equations or formulae. Now here we've got an equation and we're going to write it as a ratio. So feel free to press pause now and write this equation as a ratio. Okay, so we're told that 3a equals b. So in other words, 3 times a is equal to b. So b is obviously going to be larger than a because you're multiplying a by 3 to get b. And it's going to be 3 times larger. So let's write that as a ratio. So for every 1a, you'd have 3b, or the ratio of a to b would be 1 to 3 because b is 3 times larger than a. So the ratio is 1 to 3. And that's it. And there is a bit of a shortcut. If we want the ratio a to b, what we can do is we can look at the equation and we can look at the coefficients of a and b, and then we can just turn them around. So if we want to find out what the a number would be in the ratio, we can look at the coefficient of b, which is just 1, so 1. And then in terms of the b, we can look at the coefficient of a, which is equal to 3. So you get the ratio of a to b would be 1 to 3. But again, you could represent it visually, or you can just think about it. The 3 times a is equal to b, so that means that b is 3 times larger than a, so that means the ratio would be 1 to 3. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Okay, this time we've got 4x equals 5y, and we've got to find the ratio of x to y. So feel free to press pause now and find the ratio of x to y. Okay, so if we want to find the ratio of x to y, I'm going to look at the equation, and in terms of the x number in the ratio, I'm going to look at the y in the equation, and the coefficient of y is 5, so I'm going to write 5. And then in terms of y in the ratio, the y number in the ratio, if I look at the x in the equation, the coefficient of that's 4, so it's going to be 4. So the ratio of x to y would be 5 to 4. So that's a bit of a shortcut in terms of finding our ratio, looking at the coefficients of x and y in our equation and swapping them around. So what we could do is instead we could consider a value for x and y which would make this equation work. So let's let x equal 100 to begin with, okay? So if x is equal to 100, 4 times 100, 4x would be equal to 400. So 4x is equal to 400, so that would be 400. So that if this is equal to 400, because obviously 400 equals 400, that means that 5y would be equal to 400. So 5y would also equal 400. So that means that y would have to be, if I divide it by 5, y would be 80. And let's just check that. If x is equal to 100, 4 times 100 is 400. And if y is equal to 80, 5 times 80 would be 400 as well. 400 equals 400. So that means that a pair of values that would make this equation work would be x equal to 100 and y is equal to 80. Now you could choose other values. You could choose x equals 5 and y equals 4. 4 times 5 is equal to 20, and 5 times 4 is equal to 20, and then obviously then that would give you the ratio. But here we've got the x is equal to 100 and y is equal to 80. We've been asked to find the ratio x to y, so let's write this as a ratio. We've got 100 to 80. The value for x that we found was 100, and the value for y that we found was 80. And if we cancel this down, we could divide both of these by 10 to get 10 to 8, and divide by 2 to get 5 to 4. And that's the ratio of x to y, 5 to 4. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Okay, this time we've been given that 6x plus 4y equals 15y minus x, and I want you to find the ratio of x to y. So feel free to press pause now and find the ratio of x to y. Okay, so here we've got 6x plus 4y equals 15y minus x. Okay, so let's start off by adding x to both sides. So add x and add x. On the left hand side, we would get 7x plus 4y. And on the right hand side, we'd just be left with 15y, so 15y. Okay, now we want to get the x's on one side and the y's on the other, so let's subtract 4y from both sides. Subtract 4y and subtract 4y. So on the left hand side, we'd be left with 7x, and on the right hand side, we'd be left with 11y. So we've got the 7x equals 11y. Okay, so we've now got an equation, 7x equals 11y. We want to find the ratio x to y, so what we need to do is, in terms of the x, let's look at the coefficient of y in the equation. That's 11. And in terms of the y number in the ratio, let's look at the coefficient of x in the equation. That's 7. So that would be 11 to 7, and that's it. So the ratio of x to y would be 11 to 7, and that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, now sometimes we may encounter ratio whenever we're dealing with coordinate geometry. We're quite often asked to find the midpoint of a line, but sometimes we might be asked to find the position of a point if you know its ratio along the line. So for instance, ABC is a straight line, so ABC is a straight line, and the ratio of A to B to C is 3 to 2. And we've been asked to find the coordinates of the point B on that line. So feel free to press pause now and find the coordinates of point B. Okay, so if I want to find the coordinates of this point, well, if I was doing this question, what I would actually do is I would consider how I would get from A to C. So if I wanted to get from A to C, I would go across, and then I would go up. In terms of going across, well, I'm going from 3 to 18. So if I'm going from 3 to 18, I'll be going 15 across. And in terms of the rise, well, I'm going from a height of 4 to a height of 14, so I'm going to be going up 10. So that means to get from A to C, I would go 15 across and 10 up. So to get from A to C, we would go 15 across and 10 up. Now let's figure out how we would get from A to B. So if we can figure out how to get from A to B, we can then figure out the coordinates of the point B. So to get from A to B, well, let's look at our ratio. We've got 3 to 2, so 3 to 2. So if we do 3 plus 2, that's equal to 5. Now let's start off with a horizontal distance, so how far we travel across. So if we take our 15, so 15, and we divide that by 5, so 15 divided by 5 is 3, and then we multiply that by that number in the ratio, the A, B number in the ratio, that's 3, so 3 multiplied by 3 is equal to 9. So that means to get from A to B going across would be 9, so that's equal to 9. If we go 9 across, that would get us to there. Okay, so that's how far we'd have to go across. Now let's figure out how far we'd have to go up. In terms of the total distance up, that's 10, so we're going to share that in the ratio 3 to 2 as well, so 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2, and then 2 multiplied by the AB number in the ratio, which is 3, is equal to 6. So that means we're going to be going 6 up. And that means if we go 9 across and 6 up, we'll get to B. So let's do that. So going 9 across. So this had a horizontal position of 3. We're going to go another 9 across. That's going to be 12. And then in terms of the height of this point was 4. We're going to go up another 6. That'll be 10. So that means the coordinates of the point B would be 12, 10. And that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at a mixture of ratio questions. So I've got 4 ratio questions and we're going to go through these questions. So let's have a look at our first one. So our first question says, Charlotte and Melissa book theatre tickets costing £180. And they've got a voucher that entitles them to 20% off the total price. So they get the save 20%. And then Charlotte and Melissa share the total cost of the tickets in the ratio of 5 to 7. So obviously after they use the voucher, they share the price of the tickets in the ratio of 5 to 7. For some reason, Charlotte's paying a bit less than Melissa. And the question says, work out how much more Melissa pays than Charlotte. So feel free to press pause now and figure out this question. Okay, so to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the price of the tickets by 20% because they've got that voucher. So if we take the £180 and we divide that by 10, that's equal to £18. And then if we do 18 multiplied by 2, that's equal to £36. So they get to save £36. So if we do 180, take away 36, that's equal to £144. So that's how much money Charlotte and Melissa then pay for the theatre tickets in total. They pay £144. You could have used a multiplier in this question because if we're reducing something by 20%, you could just multiply by 0.8. So if you done 180 multiplied by 0.8, you'd also get 144. Now they share the total price of the tickets in the ratio of 5 to 7. So let's divide this in the ratio of 5 to 7. So let's do 5 plus 7 is equal to 12. And let's take our 144 and divide it by 12. And 144 divided by 12 is equal to 12. So that means it's £12 in one part. Now Charlotte pays 5 parts, so if we take our 12 and we multiply by 5, that's equal to £60. So that's for Charlotte. So in terms of Melissa, she pays 7 parts, so let's take the £12 and multiply by 7, and that's equal to £84. So that means that Melissa would pay £84. So we've now worked out how much Charlotte would pay, which is £60, and how much Melissa pays, which is £84. But the question asks us how much more does Melissa pay than Charlotte? So we need to do 84, take away 60, is equal to £24. So that means she pays £24 more than Charlotte, and that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So our next question says, a bag contains red, yellow and blue beads, and the ratio of red to yellow beads is 2 to 3, and the ratio of yellow to blue beads is 5 to 4, and we've been asked to work out what fraction of the beads are red. So feel free to press pause now and figure this out. Okay, so we've been given 2 ratios. Let's combine it as one ratio. So we've got red to yellow to blue. That's what we've been told in the question. There, that's what's in the bag. So the ratio of red to yellow is 2 to 3. So red to yellow is 2 to 3. And the ratio of yellow to blue is 5 to 4, so 5 to 4. So underneath the yellow is 5 and underneath the blue is 4. Now we want to combine this as one ratio. So let's look at the yellows in each of the ratios. So we've got 3 parts and 5 parts. So let's find a common multiple of 3 and 5. And I'm going to go for the lowest common multiple, which is 15. So I'm going to find a ratio where there's 15 yellows. So if I multiply the 3 by 5, I get to 15. So 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. So I'm going to multiply the 2 by 5, and 2 multiplied by 5 is equal to 10. So if we know that for every 3 yellows there's 2 reds, that means if there's 15 yellows, there's going to be 10 reds. Okay, now in terms of the yellows and blues, the ratio of yellow to blues is 5 to 4. But to get from 5 to 15, we multiply by 3. So we need to multiply this number by 3. And 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So if I know that if for every 5 yellows there's 4 blues, if there's 15 yellows, there's 12 blues. Now the question says what fraction of the beads are red. So let's add the parts together in the ratio. 10 plus 15 plus 12, that would be equal to 37. And 10 parts are red. So that means it's 10 37ths. So 10 37ths of the beads are red. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So it's a coordinate geometry question, and we've been given a straight line, PQR, and we're told the ratio of PQ to RQ is 2 to 5. And we've been asked to work out the coordinates of the point Q. So feel free to press pause now and figure out the coordinates of the point Q. Okay, so to do this question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how I would get from P to R. So to get from P to R, I'd go from -8 to 13, so that's 21 across, so 21 across. And in terms of going down, I'm going from a height of 4 down to a height of -3, so I'm going to be going down 7. So to get from P to R, we're going to be going across 21 and down 7. But we want to find the coordinates to the point Q, so we want to get from P to Q. So to do that, let's add together the numbers in the ratio. 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. And let's take those distances and divide them by 7. So let's focus horizontally to begin with. So 21 divided by 7 is equal to 3. But now we need to multiply by that number in the ratio, the PQ number in the ratio, which is equal to 2. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So to get from P to Q, I'm going to have to go 6 across. So 6 across to there. Now in terms of vertically, well, the whole way down is 7. So if we take our 7 and divide it by 2 plus 5, which is 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And then we're going to multiply by that number in the ratio, the PQ number in the ratio, and that's equal to 2. So 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2. So we're going to go down 2. So to get from P to Q, we're going to be going across 6 and down 2. So if we go across 6, well, that's going to bring us from -8, we go across 6, that'll bring us to -2. And then if we're at a height of 4, and we go down 2, that's going to bring us to 2. So the coordinates of the point Q are -2, 2, and that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at one last question. Okay, let's have a look at our last question. So bag A contains 5x coins and bag B contains 3x coins. And 8 coins are taken from bag B and put into bag A, and the ratio of coins in bag A to bag B is now 11 to 5. And we've been asked to work out the total number of coins. Okay, so let's consider this. So to begin with, in bag A, there's 5x coins, and in bag B, there's 3x coins. But then 8 of these coins are taken out of this bag and put in here. So whenever the 8 coins are taken out of bag B, well, they're going to go down to 3x minus 8 because they're going to be going down 8. And in terms of bag A, it's had another 8 coins because 8 coins have been taken out of this bag and put into this bag. So that means that bag A has now got 8 extra coins. So that means in bag A, it's 5x plus 8. So we've got 3x minus 8 in bag B, and we've got 5x plus 8 in bag A. Now we're told that the ratio of those coins, the ratio of these coins, the ratio, is now 11 to 5. So that means that 5x plus 8, the ratio of 5x plus 8 to 3x minus 8 is equal to 11 to 5. That's the ratio. Okay, so we've now got a ratio. Let's write it as an equation because then we can solve it, find x, and then figure out how many coins there are altogether, the total number of coins. So let's write this ratio as an equation. So let's think about it. In terms of 5x plus 8 and 3x minus 8, well, 5x plus 8 is going to be larger than 3x minus 8. And actually, that's what the ratio tells us. It says, for instance, if this is equal to 5, this is equal to 11. Or if this is equal to 50, this would be equal to 110, and so on. So if I multiply the 3x minus 8 by 11 and the 5x plus 8 by 5, they'd be equal to each other. Because, for instance, if I multiplied this number by 11, I'd get 55. And if I multiplied this number by 5, I'd get 55. And they'd be equal to each other. So if I multiply this by 5 and this by 11, they're equal to each other. So let's do that. So 5 multiplied by 5x plus 8 equals 11 multiplied by 3x minus 8. So this multiplied by 5 is equal to this multiplied by 11. Now let's just expand our brackets and solve it. And when we expand and solve this, we can find x. 25x plus 5 times 8 would be equal to 40 is equal to 11 times 3x would be 33x, and 11 times minus 8 would be minus 88. Okay, so we've expanded our brackets. Let's take away 25x from both sides. So let's take 25x away from the left-hand side. That'll leave us with 40. And on the right-hand side, if we take away 25x, that'll leave us with 8x minus 88. So let's add 88 and add 88 and see what we get. 40 plus 88 would be equal to 128. And on the right-hand side, we'll just be left with 8x, so 8x. And then if we turn this around, 8x equals 128. And if we divide by 8 and divide by 8, we'll get that x is equal to 16. So x is equal to 16. Now in this question, we're asked to find the total number of coins. So we've got that x is equal to 16. That's what we've found. Now to find the total number of coins, we can either work out how many coins were in bag A to begin with and how many coins were in bag B to begin with and add them together. Or we could work out how many coins are in bag A now and how many coins are in bag B now and then add them together. It should be the same amount. Let's work it out and see. So 5 times 16 is equal to 80 and 3 times 16 is equal to 48 and 80 plus 48 would be equal to 128. So there's 128 coins. Alternatively, you could use this version. 5 times 16 is 80 plus 8 is 88. 3 times x, 3 times 16 is equal to 48. Take away 8 is 40. And 88 plus 40 is also equal to 128. So either way, we get 128. So the total number of coins is 128. And if you got that, well done.
And that's it. So in this video, we've looked at ratio. We've looked at lots of different aspects of ratio. As I said, it's one of those topics which is it comes up an awful lot. So make sure you're confident with your ratios. So make sure you know how to simplify ratios, how to write things as ratios, how to share things in a ratio, how to go between a ratio and an equation, how to, if you know two coordinates, how to find a particular point that's a certain ratio in between the 2 points, and so on. So it's quite an important topic of ratio, particularly on the higher tier as well. So make sure you do the revision, you do the practice questions there on them, and keep up the hard work. But today, as I said, ratio is a very important topic. Also, there's a link in the description below to some questions. So today we've gone through ratio. There's 40 days to go to GCSE Maths exam. Keep up the hard work, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Cheers. Bye.